Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you to everybody joining us. A beautiful Tuesday morning. WoodwardSports.com. Jeff Iafrate, Adham, Beydoun as always. And then there's Fish, who we have to deal with, but we'll make it. We'll make it. Good morning, Fish. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning. I'm doing good. That was a great game we watched yesterday in the college football.
It went exactly how we pretty much expected it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want everyone to know, everyone that wants expansion, expansion, we need it. It's not going to change anything. You're going to have the same two teams or a lopsided game like yesterday, and they're going to keep expanding until they get it right. And they're not going to get it right.
And by the way, all the Michigan fans watching that game, I know Michigan that probably would have. I don't think it would have been that bad, but they probably still would have lost to Georgia. It's gotta suck watching that game. That TCU got that right,
prime opportunity,
and they fought their way to the Natty, and they earned it. They beat Michigan, but to lose 65-7, like that's gotta sit.
You know what I learned last night?
That can't be good. What'd you learn?
Yeah, I was taught a long time ago by my father.
Okay.
Valuable life lesson. Life isn't fair.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right? You can do all the right things. You can stay late at night, working all night.
Yeah.
You can go to the gym. You can do everything you're supposed to do. And you still don't get what you want.
No.
And last night, the SEC told you they don't give a fuck about you, your program, your feelings, nothing. Georgia is unbelievable. And Michigan, shame on you for losing to that team. 65-7. 65-7!
Yeah.
You gave up 51 to this team. You made Max Duggan look like the fucking second coming of Jesus Christ. Shame on you.
And the team that Michigan beat, Ohio State, twice in back-to-back years, almost took down Georgia. I mean, a lot of college football, and what you're seeing is Ohio State has 4 5-star guys, and you have TCU who, again, I made the joke when they got there, they're happy to be there, but TCU just doesn't have the talent. They just don't. But they played their asses off, and they earned that win against Michigan.
That was a joke, man.
It really
that
is.
That was... I literally watched the first quarter and a half, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I might go be a husband for the next 2 hours instead.
That's nice.
This is not worth
if
it.
The game made you say that,
it was that bad.
You know it's bad.
It was such a bad game. Like, there was nothing. There was... Guys, all right, Georgia gets the ball. They go down. They score. Fine. Okay, cool. Then it's 10-7. They make a goal line stop. TCU does. And then they go down and score. It's 10-7. You're like, oh, my God, we might watch a football game. And then Georgia was like, nah, fuck it. Let's beat them. Well, we gave them one score. That's it. That's all they get today. It was that bad. It was that easy for Georgia.
Yeah.
Stenson Bennett, Lad McConkey,
Brock Bowers.
That was... They're loaded on offense, and that doesn't include Mitchell, the wide receiver. That doesn't include their running back. I mean, this is... Holy hell. We watched, like... That was basically watching the Kansas City Chiefs play the Chicago Bears in Kansas City, and the Chicago Bears were missing their entire defensive and offensive line. That's how bad that was.
By the way, Brock Bowers, I know Stenson Bennett had 6 touchdowns, 4 passing, 2 rushing. The last 3 games for Stenson Bennett, I know I always poke fun at him because he's like 26 playing against 20-year-olds. But the last 3 games, he's played LSU, Ohio State, and TCU. He's had 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. So, listen, Georgia, they got athletes, man. And Brock Bowers, for a guy who I think he's eligible for the draft next year, he has more yards in each of his first 2 seasons than Kyle Pitts has ever had at Florida. Kyle Pitts had 650 and 770. Brock has almost 1,000 in each of his first 2. He's incredible.
He's a special
He's making
kid.
a case.
This is why I told you yesterday, and I told you this, Fish. I don't care about the championship game. And it's the reason I only gave it a quarter and a half. Because this was going to happen. There was no fairy tale story TCU were going to make a run. The fact that they even got there was a gift from God. The fact that they beat Michigan was a gift from Michigan and an embarrassment on Michigan's program. And then Georgia were like, all right, settle down. This is how you play football. And the rest is history. And you know what? You know what TCU played like? They played scared. SEC, man. SEC football.
It's different.
It's just totally different. TCU looked like a bunch of scared high school kids in their freshman year going up against the JV kids. Or, excuse me, the varsity kids.
Yeah.
It was that embarrassing. I have nothing else. What a joke. And if you're a Michigan fan, how do you feel this morning?
Oh,
That is what I can't wait to hear. We'll take callers on it coming up. I want to know what you guys think. How do you feel after watching that ass kicking? Did you dodge a bullet? Oh, God, that is awful.
Mike, you're a Michigan fan. I mean, what's on your mind, buddy, after watching that game last night?
I mean, it's bad. It just shows that we should have beat TCU and we blew it, but, like, I didn't expect them to beat them that bad.
I don't know. Based on the TCU result, Georgia might have beaten Michigan 115-7.
Yeah,
So.
I don't know. I don't know what to think of that. It's just embarrassing.
Man.
Oh, God. Oh, God. We got a jam-packed show, though. I can't wait. After this, have we gotten it all wrong with Dan Campbell? Misunderstood? Is there a genius behind the goof? And I don't mean that in a bad way. So we'll have that conversation coming up at 8:30. And Jeff and I want to go to all of you. What did you think of this season? You give us your season recap. You tell us what you think of this Detroit Lions football team and what they proved down the stretch. You guide us into next season. Today's about you. So from 8:45 till about 9:15, 9:30, we're going to be taking your calls on the Detroit Lions and your thoughts on how the season went. We'll talk about Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn being rumored with multiple jobs. Ben Johnson, of course, now I want to say 4 jobs have come available that he has been contacted about. So you had to expect this.
Adam, it's been a day. Like, one day goes by, and we got 3 teams contacting him, and AG as well, to the, getting invited by the Colts for an interview. I'm going to talk about it later in the show, but I have a serious worry of mine, and it's one of my biggest fears, and I'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it. Michael, this is to you and every Michigan fan. I want to play devil's advocate here, okay? Hear me out. Hear me out. What if I told you, this is ESPN 30 for 30s? What if I told you that losing to TCU was the best thing to happen to Michigan?
Oh. All right.
What if I told you that you losing to TCU prevented what we saw last night from happening to you on the national stage?
I don't think it would have been that bad, but...
What, 45-17?
I don't know.
You're losing by 28, bro.
Hey, I don't think you would have lost by 50, though.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know.
At least you got that.
I don't know.
Either way.
I don't know.
Either
You
way,
gave up 37 to Max Duggan.
Got lost to TCU was embarrassing.
If I do the math
really
correctly,
say anything.
If I do the math correctly, Michigan gave up 37 to Max Duggan in TCU.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. TCU gave up 40 plus to Michigan. Now, I'm subtracting 90% from one side and doubling the other side. That means Georgia would have put up 130 points. And they might have given up 17? Maybe? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I have no idea what to think of college football this morning.
I know.
This is why it's so amazing and so shit. Because that's your championship game.
Yeah.
That's your championship game. Those are the 2 best teams in the country. And you know what? You know who was right from the beginning, by the way? And he was a total professional last night? Nick Saban. Nick Saban was right. Alabama and Nick Saban would have beaten this team 55-7. Alabama and Nick Saban would have beaten Michigan, and they would have opened up as touchdown favorites against Michigan. Now, again, you got to get to the college football playoff. You have to earn it. I respect that.
Right.
All right? I think it was right that Alabama were left out. That's why the college football playoff expansion is a good thing. Having said that, there are 2 teams in the country, and then there's everybody else right now. Mm-hmm. It's Georgia, it's Bama, and then everybody else. That's it. That's it. Ohio State gave Georgia a better run for their money, except they didn't have a kicker. So,
right.
Who knows?
But Ohio State also has, high-level recruits. Mm-hmm. But that's college football.
I can't believe what we watched last night. What an embarrassment. What an embarrassment. So stupid. Like that is what just fucks the sport.
I mean, welcome to sport. That's what happens.
No,
you don't always get
often.
a good game. Sometimes you get blowouts, and that's.
But Fish, that's bad. Like that.
No, it's bad.
That's bad.
But there's been finals that have happened in blowouts. You just gotta take it. You just gotta say, "Oh well, on to next year." I mean, it's tough, but however you get there is however you get there. So obviously TCU got their way in. They deserve something.
I love the optimism, though.
They got murdered.
Sonny Dykes, TCU, they were talking after the game. They're like, our goal, and obviously you can't, throw shade
they've had a
the
magical
statement.
season. What can you say about that?
But it was funny because after the game, they're like, our goal, we want to be on the level of Alabama and Georgia. That's our goal, which is a great goal, but
good luck.
It's not going to happen.
By the way, have you seen all the most of the SEC facilities are like NFL facilities? It is ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely.
I was adding something to the show. You didn't like that?
You know who TCU reminds me of, Fish?
Where is this going?
Oh.
Why?
I'm assuming that
Explain.
is a bad thing.
Oh, seriously.
Yeah, expand on
Well,
that.
you need to. You just said me, but in what way? Sometimes you love me, sometimes you hate me. I'm assuming it's a hatred
sometimes
way.
you show up to work and sometimes you don't.
Okay.
Last night they didn't. What are you going to do? Sometimes you're really good at your job, like against Michigan. Sometimes you're really shit, like against Georgia.
It's called sport. That's what happens. Can't control everything,
God.
Adam.
Oh, God. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. When we get back, let's get into some Lions. Season's over. The draft is ahead, off-season ahead. How you want to work out the salary cap, we'll see how it plays out. It's going to be an interesting off-season. But I want to move off college football, because I don't think anybody gives a fuck, to be honest. I'm not going to waste any more time on college football.
Fair
it's
enough.
over.
Yep.
Michigan, you fucking blew it. Congratulations. You lost to a team that got absolutely fucked in the ass on national television. I hope that makes you feel better. Having said that, we'll take a break. When we get back, we'll get into some Lions talk. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Well, let me tell you about them. Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings. Cintron has combined all three of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. You can try them all, the classic, sugar-free, or cranberry. Pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box today at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Go drink one while the Rings play tonight. Go Red Wings.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Market, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
All right. We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. As always, Samuel Fisher in the booth. You look good, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted just the straight black hoodie, I guess.
Excellent.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent outfit.
Thank you. My team lost this morning, so not great, but
Who?
New Zealand Breakers. They lost to the Perth Wildcats by 5, whatever it was. So New Zealand Breakers, the basketball team. They lost by 5. They play again on Thursday. I'll be getting up for that one against Melbourne, so hopefully they'll win. And they play on Saturday night, so I'm optimistic. They're in second place. Hey, Derek Walton Jr., who plays on the Motor City Cruise, or played on the Cruise last year.
Yeah, he did.
He's
From
balling
Detroit.
out.
From Detroit.
He's balling out for Sydney, so, as much as I like him, kind
All
of
right, back to the Morning Woodward
not
Show.
too very
We're
well.
live.
Hey, you called on me, so I can't help you.
Fish, I know why he called you TCU. You kind of look like Max Duggan's little brother, in a way.
You look like Max Duggan fucked a blonde girl. And you know what? We're going to stop this conversation.
Kid?
Anyways,
Fish is the kid?
Moving on.
I mean, I look like I'm 8, so I just accept that.
Moving on.
Saying.
Jesus Christ. All right, Michigan. All right, Detroit. Here's what we're going to do. All right, your football team finished 8-2 down the stretch. Some of the better football, I think, across the entire NFL in the final 10 weeks of the season. And am I wrong to say that we're going into this offseason with not only expectations to compete and maybe win the North, but you're looking at a team for the next 3, 4, 5 years. They aren't going anywhere. You'll have the cap flexibility. All these guys are under contract. A lot of dead cap space will be off the books over the coming years. That has been addressed. Your team, its core, is young. It's all draft picks by, of course, your current GM, Brad Holmes. So, Jeff, I look at this team, and we'll start taking calls coming up in a little bit. But I look at this team, I look at this coach. They believed in the turnaround. And you know what? I sure as hell didn't. And I sure as hell didn't think it was possible to finish 8-2. Hell, I would have considered 6-4 a massive success down the stretch when they started 1-6. The fact that they even outperformed that, to me, was incredible. Aiden Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph, James Houston, Josh Pascal, Malcolm Rodriguez, just on the defensive side of the ball. You go to the offensive side of the ball, Penei Sewell, that offensive line. You've got Jared Goff playing excellent quarterback, but if you want to just talk about young players, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Penei Sewell on the offensive side of the ball. This team's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Your foundation is there. Watch out for Detroit for the next couple of years.
And I think you phrased it perfectly. The foundation is there, and there's still holes on this team, and that's for Brad Holmes to fill those holes. But at the same time, even for a young team, in a season where you're 1-6, the defense looks terrible, historically bad, they turn it around. The offense has been good all year. They have the most points in the NFC North by like 30. I think the closest team second for points for is Minnesota. So you're the best offense all year. You gave up the second most points, or excuse me, the second least points in the NFC North. And on top of that, you're 5-1 in your own division. Should have been 6-0 if it wasn't for a blown assignment at the end to KJ Osborne. So this team is even closer than I would have thought, because I picked him to go 8-9 this year. But I didn't expect that record in the division. Like when me and Mike on the Jeff and Gentry show picked the whole schedule, I didn't have 5-1 in the division. I mean, you swept the Bears, you swept the Packers, and you split with the Vikings. And for whatever people can say about Dan Campbell when he was first hired and he had his press conference, and at least the clips that go national or viral, they're looking at this guy like, how is this guy a head coach? Like he's more of a meathead. He doesn't seem like the typical head coach, right? He's making his eyes big. He's wearing the helmet before the Grand Prix. And then you look at this season. He's out-coached Dable, Doug Peterson, Robert Saleh, Matt LaFleur twice, Kevin O'Connell almost twice. And then you see, even on Sunday night, declining that penalty against Wyatt to give them an extra play. He doesn't get enough credit. And now there was a lot of decisions early in the year where you're sitting there scratching your head, and they probably costed the Lions a couple of those games. But he's learned from his own mistakes. So whatever you want to say about Dan Campbell, all that noise is starting to go away now. Now, next season, the expectations rise. So if you want to keep that noise away, you got to keep winning ball games at the end of the day. You can't start 1-4. So that's the next big thing for Dan, but so far he's pretty much appeased everybody, not only in Detroit, but nationally. I mean, I've seen some guys that do television tweet out and apologize. I know there was one guy, I'm forgetting his name, but he was one of the critics of Dan Campbell when he was first hired. I just checked his Twitter yesterday. I apologize. I was wrong about Dan Campbell. Like, more and more people are starting to come around on him. So, hey, that's his job, and he's doing a damn good job at it.
Look, he's done a damn good job, and I think what's more important is how do you phrase this? At the end of the day, guys, I think you're all confident in leadership, as you should be, right? They've given you reason. You were all sold on Brad Holmes. Well, not all of you, but most of you understood that you had a GM that was going to bring in the talent, and all your coach needed to do was show improvement in year 2. And what'd you get? You got improvement. Now, was it a rough start? Yep. Was it chaotic? Yep. Was it really disappointing? Hell yeah, it was. It's frustrating as hell. But they gave you 10 weeks of some of the best football in the entire NFL. Is that a fluke? I don't think so. I don't know many teams that can win 8 of 10. And if you guys want to point to the, the 95 or 96 Lions that won 7 straight at the end of the year and had one of the better offenses in the NFL, it's completely different. Because this is a team that hasn't been to the playoffs, and that was a team that won the division not even 2 years prior to that.
Right.
So we're talking 2 completely different eras, 2 completely different teams, 2 completely different organizations. The Lions haven't won or proven anything yet. Yet they won 8 of 10 in a, quote, rebuild season. Think about that.
It's unbelievable. And here you were sitting there all year, even before, saying this team is much better than 1-6, and you got crap for that even. I mean, people are like, how dare you?
Brad Holmes didn't do enough.
Yeah.
Again, this is always going to happen.
Right.
I'm honestly not even hung up on it. Earlier in the year, it was Brad Holmes' fault, right? It wasn't Dan Campbell. He's working with what he's got, and it's not good enough, and we need to be patient. That was the conversation 7 weeks into the year. And what do you know? They turned it around. Coaching got better. They got rid of Aubrey Pleasant.
Right.
Look, defensively, they were night and day. They suddenly looked like a top 17, top 18 defense down the stretch, at times really top 10. And nobody really had a problem with the talent. Now, is it partly because young players need time to develop? Sure, but I think there's a misconception with that in the NFL. This is not the NBA, Jeff. In the NFL, at 21 years old, I can walk in with proper coaching and be excellent.
Mm-hmm. The Jaguars. There you go.
It's the standard across the league. It's a different league. Now, do some players take more time to develop? Sure. Kirby Joseph's emergence, obviously due to Tracy Walker's injury, that's all fair and game. But at the end of the day, your team improved, man. Jeff, they won 8 of 10 games. They looked like one of the 5, 6 best teams, maybe 7 best teams in the entire NFL in those 10 weeks. They had a better record than some of the teams that are the 2-3 seed in the NFL in the current playoff. So I got nothing but good things to say right now. Excited for the offseason. We'll obviously start getting to draft talk over the coming weeks. We'll start looking at prospects, what the Lions shouldn't do, who should they re-sign. I know we're going to get to that a little later on in the show with Jamal Williams, but my goodness, a lot still to prove, right? You got to win something. But I don't recall a coach inspiring that much confidence since what? Caldwell 11-5?
Yeah.
But even that, you lost the final game of the year. You had the division all year, and you choked it away. So how do I really evaluate that? I don't recall in my lifetime. I'm only 28. Don't talk to me about 95. I was born in 94. I had no idea what the hell was going on, okay? In my lifetime, I don't think there's ever been an off season where you were talking about the Detroit Lions saying, if they do this, if they make 1 or 2 moves like this, they're winning the division next year. Not competing, winning.
Yeah. And I think the difference is also Brad Holmes. It's got to be. Because even though you like the players, a lot of young players, rookies, second-year players, some of the most impactful players on the Lions, you know Brad Holmes is going to continue to get these picks at least mostly correct. Unlike past regimes where you had good coaching, the general manager, you missed on a lot of draft picks. That's how you keep momentum. Like as these players get older, if Brad Holmes continues to add talent like he has been doing, there's never not going to be enough talent to at least go out and contend for the division. Now you look at coaching, and coaching's been really good this year, the second half of the season. So we'll see how they start next season, but a lot of this has to come down to Brad Holmes, and I think that's going to be the big separator from this regime to past regimes, is with Brad, his ability to find talent, especially late in the draft. You're going to be able to fill holes quickly. It's what can the coaching staff, and right now you like it how it's assembled with Dan, Ben, Aaron Glenn, Deuce Staley, Hank Fraley, so on and so forth, that whoever you get in the building, they're going to develop. And so far, players have been developing. So this is why we talk about how the organization is in lockstep, whether it's Brad and Dan. You got Brad finding talent, Dan developing talent. So their relationship, honestly, for two guys that weren't even hired together, they were hired separately, it's a great relationship, and I think that's going to be a big part of why the Lions, they see success for a longer period than maybe Jim Caldwell and Martin Mayhew.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We'll take a pause. When we get back, phone lines are open. 313-552-6322. All right, 313-552-6322. Call in. Have we gotten it wrong about Dan Campbell? Is he a bit misunderstood? Is there a genius behind the goof and the pep talks, the mantra? To be honest with you, Sean Payton called it, I want to say 9, 10, 11 weeks ago.
Yep.
When he said this guy could be the offensive version of Mike Vrabel. He might be onto something right now.
Yeah.
Because over the last 10 weeks, I can't find a better coach over the last 10 weeks in the NFL season.
And he said that, I believe, at like 1-6 or 2-6. It was
I want
early.
to say they were 3-6.
Either he said it before this
before
huge
the run. 100%.
Yeah. So Sean Payton was very early on that.
Here's what we'll do. We'll take a break. When we get back, phone lines are open. We'll go to the people. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Well, it's a new year, so let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Their professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. They also have 24/7 professional monitoring, whether it's night or day. You could call them and know a Guardian team member will stay on the phone for as long as you need. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You can get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Look at this guy, Ryan Ermanni, down 27 pounds since he started his journey with Dr. Jason and everybody over at Custom Health Center. So very proud of him. Shout out to him. It's a big commitment, and I'm happy he's lost weight. We got to change this. It's got to be now before and after. So, Justin, I know you're watching. We got to get a before and after because his 7 rolls are probably now 3.
Yeah.
Looks a lot better.
Made tremendous progress.
Here's what we're going to do. Phone lines are open. We'll go to the people. Fish, good morning as always. Keep doing your job. You're doing a hell of a job this morning. We'll start with Terrell. Terrell, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Hey. Good morning, fellas. How we doing?
Always good, man.
Good. I usually don't start with the pleasantries and all that shit because I know you guys really hate it as radio guys, basically. But we're feeling good right now. I feel good. I'm really glad that the season ended the way that it did, and here's why. And the Michigan game was actually a perfect example of this because I think that TCU saved you guys an ass whooping in the finals in front of everybody because they would have smoked you guys to be, they were just clearly the best team in the land. So the reason why it's the same to me, similar anyway, is because I would rather the Lions go into the offseason with all of this positive momentum because this is the most positive momentum we are ever going to have going into the next season without actually winning a Super Bowl. The feelings that are surrounding this team right now are just amazing, and I would rather it be this way and putting Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs than, if we would have went to San Francisco and got smoked, and got our asses whooped by them. That's
at the end of the day, man, they were 8-2 down the stretch, and I think that's what you have to look at. Yeah. This isn't a team that won 2-3 meaningless games down the stretch. They played some damn good football, and that's something to hold on to going into next season.
Yeah, definitely. But we just don't have the horses yet to run with those big boys. So I would rather take the momentum and the positive vibes that we have right now and just go into next season, and go kill it. Because these boys don't – I think that playoff experience is a little overrated sometimes because we can go on a run next year would not have taken a big L in these playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think playoff experience is a bit overrated. Once you get there, it's one and done. It's a knockout stage. It's show up and play football. It's nothing more than that. Now, you want to talk about experience going into NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl? All right, fine, but everybody's got to get there for the first time, so it's all part of a journey.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call, man.
But I got one more point, small point before I go, Jeff.
Yep.
I just wanted to say that all of the golf haters, if you guys go and watch that replay of him when there was about 9 minutes left in the third quarter, when he rolled out to the left against his body, dropped back and threw a 50-yard dime to Khalif Raymond on the goal line like a G. I don't want to hear no more shit about this dude can't throw deep.
I love it, man. I love it. Well done. I agree. Jared Goff has earned his keep this year, man. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, y'all.
You too, man. Oh, God. All right. I think we all agree, hopefully, I think we all agree about Jared Goff is he's probably the guy for the next 2 years. Now, you can't play like that. You can't play that well. Now, how much you want to attribute to Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, we'll see, but we'll go to Scott. Scott in North Branch, Michigan. Good morning. How you doing? What do you got for us, buddy?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
Always good.
Good. I'm glad that the Lions ended the season the way they did. I didn't really want to see them going out on a loss, especially after Aaron Rodgers went and opened his mouth like he did after he lost to us the first time. So I'm glad they ended the season on a high note. But, I mean, like the gentleman before me said, we just don't have the horses to run with the big dogs right now. And I'm okay with that. You know, we got the draft to build on. And, you know, with Adham, you know, he's hit on the majority of his picks so far, and I can't be disappointed.
Yeah, look, I mean, people forget the Kansas City Chiefs with Andy Reid weren't built in a day. He was hired all the way back in 2013, and he didn't win a playoff game until his fourth season. And not only that, not only did he not win a playoff game until his fourth season, it was 4, 5, 6, 7 years until he got to an AFC Championship game, and then year 8, year 9, when he won the Super Bowl. So, you know, there's a lot that goes into building a team, and, you know, if the Lions want to be a respectable franchise, it has to be long-term. It's not winning a division and then going another 20 years without winning it. It's about setting yourself up for long-term success. And you know what, Scott? I think they're doing it. I do.
Yeah, you know what, Adam? You're hitting the nail right on the head with that one. I think they're coming pretty close to being able to run our division for a while. I don't see Green Bay contending, especially if Rodgers decides to retire.
Yep.
Pull a Brady and say, nope, I'm coming back.
Even
but I've got 2 more points to make.
Yep, go for it.
Brad Holmes, point one. Brad Holmes knew what he was doing to the Rams when he screwed them out of all them draft picks. Thank you, Lord. And 2, I'm pulling an Aaron Rodgers. How in the hell could Michigan lose to TCU?
I know.
How in the hell could we lose to that team?
Scott, if I knew, I can only try to understand what Michigan fans feel like this morning. If Michael Gentry, who's standing in or sitting in our technical booth right now, is a representation of it, it's pretty damn depressed. Oh, God. Scott, appreciate the call this morning, buddy. Take care.
All right, well, you guys have a wonderful day. Take care.
Thank you. You know, I loved what he said towards the end, and this is something I think we tend to forget, is once you have success, how do you sustain it? Dan Campbell goes out, they go 9-8, and then next year it's 11-6, and they win the division. Like, yeah, your expectations will change, and you'll say, let's get to the championship game, and then let's try to go win a Super Bowl. Like, that's always going to happen. That's a general thing. It's a normal thing to happen once you have success. But
right,
how many teams win a Super Bowl every season? How many teams get to a title game?
4.
How many teams win their division?
You get it.
8.
I didn't want to hold
And how
up
many
8 fingers.
teams? It's okay. And how many teams make the playoffs? 14.
Yeah.
There's tiers of, your standard, make the playoffs, win the division,
Right.
get to a title game, win a playoff game, maybe in between, go to a Super Bowl. Sure, fine. You can have expectations. But if you're the Lions and you have the same old Lions tag that's associated with you for all this time, the best way to get rid of it is to have success consistently. Not just to win 11 games maybe next year and win a playoff game and then think 60 years of nothing is expunged. But it's a great fucking first step. And I think this year was a great first step.
Yeah.
Because you proved that you could play consistent football for a 10-week stretch. I can't forget 1-6. I can't. There are flaws there, but they overcame them. And the way they played down the stretch to me was so impressive. Let's go to Christian out in New Jersey. Christian, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
What's going on, gentlemen? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just, I have so much high optimism for next season. It's the first time in a long time. I think maybe the 2014 season, and then all that went to shit after that. At the beginning of the season, obviously we were, getting our pitchforks ready and everything. But as you guys said yesterday, Sunday night we've seen our young guys grow. But this whole season, from that 1-6 start, you've seen our coaching staff learn how to win these games, and I think that's half the battle. So next season going in, they know the formula of what this team can do to win these ball games, right? So with this draft capital and free agency coming, I feel like we just need to shore up our secondary. Like our safeties are fine. I'm fine with our safeties. But we need 2 starting corners.
Yep.
Awari is gone. We can all agree, correct?
Yeah, he's trash. He's getting cut.
So I think we get 2 starting corners and at least have Jeff as a third corner, playing in the box. I think we'll be great. And maybe add a D tackle there, here or there, that can push the middle, and maybe a missile-seeking linebacker, and I think
you nailed it, man. I think you nailed it. Secondary is the most important. Linebacker, I think, is pretty important. We'll see what they do with Anzalone. Malcolm Rodriguez, he's a great story, but he's not a bona fide stud at linebacker where you're looking at a top 10, top 12 linebacker in the NFL. But there's something there. You look at the interior, I think you're correct. You want to get somebody that can rotate and play alongside Aleem McNeil. And this is a defense that you hope gets better because nobody doubts the offense. The offense is going to be excellent.
Yeah, the offense is going to be there, man. It's going to be there. I'm sure we're going to bring Jamal back. My biggest fear, guys, is we lose AG or Ben Johnson, man. So that's my biggest fear this offseason. So I hope Sheila gets her pocketbook ready and costs up some dough for these guys to stay put.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Appreciate the call, buddy. You have a great rest of your day.
You guys too.
All right, appreciate it. Look, guys, to all of you in the chat, I try to be respectful sometimes, not all the time, but I do my best. All right, I give effort. Not all the time, but sometimes, okay? If I hear Quentin Johnston at number 6 overall for the next 3-4 months,
oh, God,
I will fucking kill every single one of you. You understand me? No. Unacceptable. That's not smart. It's not wise. There's nothing good about that decision. This camera is way too close to me, Michael. This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. This is the same guy who in the national championship game caught one pass for 3 fucking yards. And you want to compare him to Jamar Chase? You dumb motherfuckers. This is the shit that grinds my gears. This.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the offseason. We get to talk about stuff like this. Jesus Christ.
I was going to say, did you see it? Started.
Jesus Christ.
Must not have seen his big game in the Natty.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
No,
Jesus Christ.
He's a freak of nature, but to draft him at 6, I mean, you're blind, man.
I'd rather just trade the pick for fucking a jar of pickles.
Honestly.
Jeez. All right.
Pickles are intriguing.
Moving on. We'll take one more caller before we go to break. Let's go to Drew out in Michigan. Drew, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
Hey, boys. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I just want to talk about, we got a little taste of J-Mo this year, that burnout play that got called back and his touchdown. What's the, I guess, expectation for, I guess, his true rookie year next year, and I guess what do you guys want to see out of him next year?
You know what? Statistically, it's the easy thing to say 1,000 yards and 60-plus catches and 5-6 touchdowns, whatever. But I want to see him be the focal point of the offense. You saw it against Green Bay. What he offers is terrifying. It opens up the whole offense, and you barely got to see it. I just want to see him get involved. I want him to be the number 1, number 2 option for Jared Goff next season. I hope they spend the offseason together. I'm not looking for a certain number, but I am looking for 70, 80, 90, maybe even 100 targets next season. That's what I'm looking for, Jeff.
Okay, yeah, awesome.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Anything else?
I guess opinions on Swift. I'm just curious about that.
I'll let Jeff take that one.
I think Swift, for the most part, the hardest thing I've had to struggle with is I love Swift and the talent he has. The problem is the workload with Swift. You can't put too much on him. But you've seen in short spurts this season, especially to close the season, he's looked more explosive. To me, Jamal is a must bring back. I think you need to re-sign Jamal. I love what he brings. DeAndre, you're probably going to let him ride out his contract. I don't know what an extension would look like or if you can find a better replacement. I think what Swift does in the passing game is super underrated. You saw against Green Bay, but I think next season's the big one. I think next season will really determine if Swift, you have a future with him. Until then, right now, I'm kind of undecided because you've seen him get injured and get banged up, but then you've seen the upside. So I'm kind of in the middle with Swift right now, but hopefully in the future you can see some consistently better things out of him because we know he has the talent. No one's questioning that.
Fair enough. Drew, appreciate the call this morning, buddy. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Yep. So we'll go to break. When we get back, I want to continue the conversation. We have a lot of you on hold. We'll get to all of you, I promise. Speaking of Swift, by the way, I'd go take a chance on Deuce Vaughn, 6th, 7th round. You're going to have to draft a running back this year. Maybe you draft 2. You can never go wrong.
No, I agree with
this
you.
Offensive line, you can't go wrong.
Maybe you just take you take a flyer.
If you're banking on DeAndre Swift being your workhorse next year.
No, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
No.
We'll take a break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. We'll continue phone calls. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Boy.
Let me tell you about them because wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Either the classic meatloaf or the Cajun chicken Alfredo. But if you're getting breakfast, they have the stuffed potato pancakes. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Chili Pepper Standing is where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPepperStanding.com. Hottest deals, hottest bulbs, darkest tans. Your vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations and more on the way.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. As always, we'll continue the calls. We'll go to Rufus out in Virginia. Rufus, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
Rufus!
Hey, good morning, gents. How y'all doing?
Always good.
Good morning.
All right, so first of all, I want to say I absolutely loved how the season ended, and I'm going to tell you why. One, that flex game that brought the Sunday night.
Yep.
It gave us a lot of exposure. I'm on Twitter a lot, so it put a lot of free agents in our backyard saying, Detroit's looking kind of interesting right now. And if you look on Twitter, it just kind of solidified that spot. They see we're not just them same old Lions per se. It's like, oh no, these guys are serious. They're coming to bite somebody's ass. Excuse my language. Second of all, I think Jeff was going to touch on this earlier. I had to leave the podcast for a second, but if Ben Johnson leaves, so Jared Goff, I'm still okay with him. I'm okay with him, but I'd be lying to you if I said I wouldn't be a little nervous about that.
Yep.
I think we better have one hell of a game plan if he decides to take a flyer and go to another team. We better have the fucking best game plan. I'm talking about knowing the man as far as to replace him. I think the next dude better be able to listen to Jared Goff about what he does well as well.
That's a tough one for me. Look, I'll be as honest as I can be. I don't think there's a job out there right now, not even Arizona, that if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm willing to leave a top 10 offense in the NFL next year for. It's my first year as a coordinator. Am I ready to take that step? And not even if I'm ready, am I confident in the place I'm going to? Would I want to go to Houston where they hire coaches on a one-year rental basis just to suck, acquire draft capital, and then botch their picks, where they take Derek Stingley, number 3 overall, and then Jalen Petrie ends up being 10 times better than the kid? Absolutely. Or do I want to go to Arizona, where the GM steps away, quote, steps away for health reasons?
And your quarterback's Kyler Murray.
And your quarterback's Kyler Murray needs a diva. Or do I want to go to, what other availabilities are there? Denver, let's ride. Yeah, I'll fucking pass on that. I don't see it. I don't see the job. And there was only one job that we talked about briefly mid-season when they were struggling, and that was the Chargers. That's the one job you could have convinced me he would leave for.
Yeah.
But if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm making good money, I'm going to go to my agent, we're going to renegotiate in the offseason, I'm going to get a raise, and then I'm going to have my options going into next season, and I know I'm coaching Jared Goff. I know I'm coaching a top 10 offense. And yeah, you guys can preach me on, it's one of 32 jobs, but at the end of the day, if I take the wrong job, I'm never getting one of those 32 jobs.
Yeah, but I'm with Jeff. It's the guaranteed money. That's I think the most attractive part.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Because some of these coaches, man, even if you get fired, you're collecting like $7-8 million annually anyway.
I get it, and then he can always go back to being a great offensive coordinator that everybody knows he can be. I get it. I get it.
Exactly.
I get it.
But I do agree with you, Adam.
Yeah, it's a good living. If I'm talking from if that was my career,
right?
Okay, if I'm only going to speak from what I would do. I know if I had the option of. It's basically, guys, like staying at your current job where you're a high performer. Everybody loves you. You're very needed. You're the guy in the building. But you're just not the CEO. You're maybe the COO or you're the head of something, I don't know. And then there's this attractive job where you could get paid more and you could be the CEO, but maybe you're not ready. Maybe you still need a year or two more under your belt. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, let me ask you this, Adam, and Jeff, you as well. Just one quick question. Just hypothetically, if Ben Johnson left, who would you like to see as offensive coordinator?
I would love for them to go out and get an adult, and I'd love I would love Dan Campbell to take over play calling. That's what I would go for. That's my initial move. That's my initial thought. If anything, maybe I'd go pluck Garrett Riley out of TCU. Maybe I'd go pluck somebody from college. Maybe I'd go get a Cliff Kingsbury and say, hey, do you want to be an offensive coordinator? I mean, there's options, but to me, I think Dan Campbell made it very clear last year. He has a certain way, Jeff, that he wants his offense ran.
Yep, a philosophy.
And who better, if not Ben, Who better than Dan Campbell himself? What do you think?
Yeah, regardless, I think for Ben Johnson in his first year as an offensive coordinator to be one of the best offensive coordinators, it's going to be hard to replace him. So maybe you look at a team that has a good offensive staff and you pluck maybe a quarterback coach or a passing game coordinator, and maybe they get an opportunity with the Lions, kind of like Ben Johnson. He was a tight ends coach. He got an opportunity. It would have to be somebody that Dan Campbell sees eye to eye with, because to Adam's point, Ben Johnson and Dan are kind of tied at the hip and what they want to do offensively. So as much as I'd be worried, to your point, Rufus, I'd be worried if Ben left. At the same time, Dan Campbell's kind of had a lot of input with the offense, so I think the identity would stay the same. But obviously his play calling, I mean, it's unbelievable what he's been able to do as a first-year OC. It's unbelievable.
Appreciate the feedback.
Appreciate it.
Always, man. Appreciate the call.
Have a good one, man. Thank you so much.
No, but to his point, like, I'd really have to sit down and see candidates, because off the top of my head, you can't just...
You're not plucking any OC on a good team.
Right.
All right?
So you'd have to go
They're
take
only
a chance on
going up,
somebody.
right?
Yeah.
So you're either taking a tight ends coach around the league, a quarterback assistant, maybe a Wes Welker. You're going to give him his shot. Who knows? But to me, it only makes sense if Ben Johnson's walking, Dan Campbell should take over, because he has a philosophy. You know, we all give Ben Johnson a lot of credit, rightfully so. But some of those play calls are built through the vision and the foundation that Dan Campbell has built.
Right.
The aggressiveness, the unpredictability. That's what he is. Now, Ben Johnson does a hell of a job calling the plays and putting together the game plan, sure, but he's enabled. That's the key word. He's enabled by Dan. Yeah. So who better?
I would go, if Ben leaves, and I know we're talking way too prematurely, but I would take a look at either San Francisco's coaching staff or LA's, just because you know the identity of both those teams, what they want to do in the run. That might align with Dan Campbell's way of thinking, but because Ben Johnson says it best, everything we do, it starts up front, starts with the run. You have the best offensive line, one of the best. That's got to be the philosophy. So to your point, wouldn't mind Dan Campbell calling plays. He did it last year before Ben Johnson took over.
All right, here's what we'll do. We'll go to James. James, you're on the morning show, Central Florida, calling in. What do you got for us, buddy?
Good morning, fellas. Go Blue, go Gators. Hey, just a couple things on the Lions. Jared Goff is our guy. There's no doubt about it, man. I'm so impressed with him. He was very disrespected when we got him. Nobody gave him any credit for anything, and look what he's done. That being said, Ben Johnson, I wasn't expecting to talk about him this morning, but he did not make Jared Goff. Okay, he opened up the playbook. He's given Coach some options, unexpected creativity, which is awesome. Nobody else in the league is doing it, and that's the crazy thing. But at the same time, if he walks, I'm not really sure what they're going to do. I don't think Goff is going to change any. I don't think the team will change very much. But I don't see him going anywhere, just because I think the league as a whole wants to see Ben Johnson do more, see if he could do this again next year, and then they'll give him that opportunity.
Let me throw this at you. So Jared Goff's best season under Sean McVay, 2018, 4,600 yards, 22 touchdowns, 2018, I'm sorry, 4,600 yards, 32 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. This season, 4,400 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I think he's gotten the best. I don't know if there's more, because the only more is 200 more yards and 3 more touchdowns. I think Goff is playing at his all-time high of a level. I think he's done a hell of a job rejuvenating his career. Goff gets a lot of credit. So does Ben Johnson. It's the offensive
Mark
coordinator.
Brunell as well.
No, Mr. fucking calling him Drew Brees. No, I'll never give Mark Brunell credit. He can suck my balls. No way. All right, moving on. The point is, I think we all understand, like you said, Jared Goff is not the problem. He's the guy. He's the guy that you can go out and win a division with. He's the guy you can go out and win a playoff game with. And you know what? I think what was so special about Sunday night.
Yep.
In Lambeau was that felt like a playoff game on the road. Maybe they're not so much better than you, but it's an even matchup, and you went out there and your quarterback, to his credit, made key throws, key plays, and also he didn't turn the ball over, and that's the recipe for success when you play playoff football. So James, I see it, man. I do see it with Jared Goff. But is there more? I think is my question to you. That's why I brought up 2018. Do you think there's more? I think this is it.
Well, listen, does there really have to be more? I mean,
no,
I
think that's kind of my point, is it's really good right now.
Yeah, he's really good, and he's doing what he has to do, but you can't expect much more than what he's doing. We just have to perform as a team better early on in the season, obviously.
Yep.
Going 1-6 does not help. We lost some games we had to have, and we didn't get them. And that's why we're not in the playoffs, and I'm disappointed that we didn't make the playoffs. I mean, we ended on a good note, but you can't control what Seattle does unless you beat their ass early on.
Yep.
And that didn't happen. So if we went to the playoffs, it's just ironic that we didn't, because we beat one of our biggest rivals on the road, last game of the year, keep them out of the playoffs, and we still don't make it. It's disheartening, but at the same time, man, I see a great future next year for this team,
100%.
with or without Ben Johnson. With or without Ben Johnson. But I think he's staying.
I'm going to agree. I do think he's staying, James, and the future's bright. You have a GM that, look, I think I said this yesterday, maybe second hour of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Holmes, a good GM, and not just a good GM, like an excellent organization that has their shit together, that is year in, year out consistent. Maybe in a 5-year window, they pull 2, at most 3 players from rounds 4 to 7 that are studs.
Right.
If you're lucky. Mm-hmm. And Brad Holmes in 2 years has gotten 3-4 guys. I mean, this to me is the best part of everything. Is we could talk about the coach, the quarterback, and all this stuff, but I know at the end of the day, the team's going to have talent because this GM knows what the hell he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And just one thing on head coach, man, he is a player's coach. There aren't too many of those out there in the NFL, and I think that's one reason why we're succeeding. He doesn't intimidate anybody. He's not an old coach, that's been successful and on his way out. He's not one of these young and up-and-coming offensive gurus. He is a middle-of-the-road coach's player that gets the most out of his guys. And that's what I like. And it's different. So
it is definitely
I like
different.
A lot.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, James. You have a great rest of your day, buddy. Thank you so much.
You too, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, you know what? That to me is probably the perfect way to end a call, especially on Jared Goff, but also Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
1-6, there's not much belief. And why should I believe? And it's the 0-10-1 record in one-possession games. It's the 0-11-1 on the road. It's not being able to force a team to punt. A lot of what the F moments. But, to his credit, you know who never gave up on him?
His players.
His players. And they turned it around.
Which is huge.
And that means something.
Yeah.
It does. As much as I can look back and say, damn, was wrong there. You know what? At the end of the day, you got to go out and prove something. You got to go out and win.
Yeah.
You don't get time in the NFL. And if he hadn't turned it around this year, and let's say they finished 5-12, Brian Daboll goes to a rebuild, they're in the playoffs year 1. Doug Peterson goes to the worst team in the NFL, playoffs, division winners year 1. Like, the excuses really just have to stop.
Right.
And I'm very happy that they turned it around. It makes my job a lot easier, number 1. And 2, I want to see them do well. It's not even a question here. But going into next year, I think you're more confident in your head coach. You've always been confident in the GM. I think Ben stays. Maybe I'm a bit naive, Jeff. I don't know. I don't see a job where you're going to pull him away from Detroit. I just don't see it. Do I think you're going to have to pay him a little bit more? Probably. But that's not a problem. Pay the guy.
They got deep pockets.
Keep him for a year.
Yeah.
You maybe lose Glenn. But if I'm honest with you, I'm looking at the defensive coordinators coming out this year for a job. Raheem Morris and
DeMeco Ryans.
He's the number 1 coaching option to me this offseason.
He's number 1.
DeMeco Ryans is number 1 above all the offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, guys in college, even Harbaugh.
Yeah.
If I'm a team and I'm looking to rebuild my team from the ground up, as enticing as Jim Harbaugh would be, boy, I'm enticed by the idea of DeMeco Ryans. So those to me are the top 2 candidates if Harbaugh decides to go to the NFL.
Yep.
But here's what we'll do. We'll take a break. When we get back, top of the hour, we'll continue the conversation on the Lions. We'll get to Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, all that coming up in just a bit. But before we go, Jeff, I got to tell everybody at home. No, I don't. You do. You got to tell everybody about our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Well, let me tell them, because you be sure to check with Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Many businesses choose a 1/1 effective date, but Swiss Insurance can help make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance, give them a shot and you won't be disappointed. Email Mark at swissins.com for more information.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
All right, let me tell you about our good friends over at the Monroe Street Midway, brought to you by our good friends, of course, Bedrock Detroit. Go down there, putt, indoor arcades, foods, drinks, food trucks, of course. You can shop, eat, and play downtown all winter long. Thanks to our good friends over at Bedrock Detroit. We are back here on the Morning
Can we go
Woodward
next
Show.
week? I mean, there's not many weeks left in January. I think they end at the end of January, so we gotta go soon. I mean, it's already January 10th, so this week coming up is... What is that, hold on, 17th, or not 17th? Coming up 14th, 21, 28, so only 3 weeks out. So, gotta make a decision there, Adam. You gonna take your good friend, Fish? No? I offered you yesterday, take Jeff and me as a tag-along, and then you're good, because you don't even have to talk to me. I can just talk to Jeff, and then you can talk to Jeff, and then I'm just there.
Yeah.
God help me.
What do you got, Fish?
You wanted to eat, we could have some pretzels. We could
Phone
have,
lines are open.
we could have hot dogs.
552-6322. Fish, do me a favor and close that door.
Yes, sir. Sounds good about now.
313-552-6322.
Put some ketchup on that hot dog. Sound like a child? Be like a child?
Oh, man.
I'm too sick for this. 313-552-6322.
Whose fault is that?
Your fault. Everything is your fault, buddy.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
The Iraq War, your fault. 9/11, your fault.
wow, alright. That was a little uncalled for, but oh well.
Well, now you know. Now we know who's responsible.
Gosh.
Dear God.
I wasn't alive during the Iraq War. I was alive during 9/11 though, so. Just a tad bit. Just
Fish,
a tad.
what the fuck are you talking about,
What?
buddy? The Iraq War started.
Oh, I guess it was after. Alright, cool.
I thought you don't know. Do you not know history?
No, I do know history. I was thinking of.
Where have you been the last 20 years?
He was there for the event, but not the war.
Well, what's the one? It's like the. Is it the Gulf War? There was one in the
Gulf
90s.
War, that was in
Is
the
that one
90s,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's the one. See, I know my history. I told you Gulf War.
You said Iraq. Okay.
No, I said it, but I understood it was the Gulf War.
Okay.
Oh
all right.
God, Fish, go walk across
I
the
know
street.
history.
Go grab a pretzel. Take my wallet.
You want me to?
Yeah, go get something. Just leave.
You want me to?
I actually would.
All right, my wallet's over there. Go ahead. Just leave.
In your backpack.
Give me 10 minutes without you here, please.
Well, should I answer this caller first?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do that. Thanks, Fish.
Oh God.
Man.
All right, and that was your history lesson with Fish.
It's funny because people only get 2 hours with Fish, but we get him for the entire workday. So if you only could see how this man, he's a legend.
Only you guys knew.
Yeah.
313-552-6322 is the phone line. We will take callers. Of course, Jeff, Lions miss out on the playoffs. Before I get to Ben and Aaron Glenn, a bit frustrating the way Seattle played against the Rams. They're now in the playoffs, but at the end of the year, if I would have told you at 1-6 they were going to be a 9-8 football team, one, you wouldn't have believed me, but two, you would have said, well, season's a success. It has to be. To be 8-2 in a 10-week stretch, it doesn't happen by accident. And you look ahead to the home schedule next year, pretty friendly. You look at the road, it's going to be a gauntlet, but you're going to have to figure it out. And you're going to have to learn how to win on the road against big teams. And you know what? Down the stretch, on the road at Green Bay, you won on the road in Chicago. Not a great team, but damn it, you did it. You won some games. Now what? Now what? What's the next step, in your opinion, for this team?
Winning the division, easily. Because that's been the one thing that Lions fans have been asking for decades. And that's the next step. And I know not everything happens in the way we'd imagine, right? First year, like last year, you win 3 games. It's pretty much a down year. The following year, you want to be 8-9. The next year, you want to win the division. As we expect that to happen, it doesn't always go like that. Now, next year, you want them to be in the conversation. Not for half the season like this season. I'm talking about from start to finish, be in that contention for the NFC North. That's the next step for this team, because if we love the progression all the players and coaches made this season, next season they have all the experience under their belt. They've played in big games, in their opinion of big games, which was Sunday Night Football at the end of the year against the Packers. Now next season, you want the big game to be the playoff, at least a wild card, but expecting to host a playoff game. Dan Campbell said it best after the game in the locker room. All roads will lead through Detroit. That's our goal. We want people to come to Detroit. And the more you talk about that, their goal is to win the division. So, in my opinion, that's next on Dan Campbell's list. That's the next thing to accomplish, because that was the one thing we always gave Jim Caldwell crap for, is his inability to win the division and choking it away. So that's the next box Dan Campbell has to check. At least be in contention. If you're off by 1 win next year,
give me the floor, and then give me the ceiling.
The floor's got to be a wild card spot.
Okay.
Floor, wild card spot, ceiling, win the division. Nothing. If you missed a playoff, that's a failure of a year to me.
Okay. I think we're on the same page then.
Yeah.
I think Tone Capone makes a really good point in the chat. I'm having a hard time as well. I can't listen to you anymore without your hair. Look at this. Look at the baldness. Proud of you. But
you know what?
I mean, it's growing back, thankfully, right?
I mean, yeah. It
How long until we get
my hair is so trained to go backwards that it's sticking up even with short hair.
Why don't you like how his hair looks? So it looks nice.
I didn't say anything.
You did. You just said you look like how your hair
Come on,
looks.
dude. My hairline, my widow's peak. It is what it is. The good thing is I don't have bedhead anymore. You wake up,
Fish. If you want to support Jeff this much, how about you go sit in that chair and you buzz your hair?
Fish, I would love that.
You won't.
Then you
Fish.
can be twins.
Do it.
I'll
Fish.
buy you a pretzel.
He'll buy you a pretzel.
A pretzel, Fish.
Fish, come
for
on.
a whole week.
Are you serious?
I'll buy you a pretzel for a whole week. Or if you don't want to eat it 7 days in a row, you will have 10 pretzel purchases.
Wow.
That you can use at any time from me.
I love this comment, Roberto.
Why does this sound intriguing?
Hey, Fish, listen to this one. Roberto says, Jeff doesn't look as smart as he was, though. He should have shaved it all.
God.
So I'm not as smart as I was with long hair, but you want me to shave my entire head bald.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And a hot dog, Fish, with ketchup.
Dude, Philip says Jeff's hair is
By
not
the way,
buzzed.
do you eat ketchup on your hot dog?
These people are idiots.
Oh, okay. Oh, we know that because Terry Foster says you're a child if you eat if ketchup on your hot dog.
Yeah,
So.
Terry Foster
He did
has
say that.
some
Yeah.
weird
I don't eat
opinions.
ketchup on mine.
No, that's fine. But you
That's fine.
mustard, right? No? You just fucking raw dog it? You sick ass? You sick fuck. Who eats a hot dog plate?
Hey,
Huh?
he just said relish.
Yeah.
Relish, that's
onions.
it?
Relish
You
onions.
sick ass. Unbelievable.
I'm not.
By the way, Westfall the same way. He eats it raw.
Okay, hold on.
You're joking.
Wait,
No,
why-
he didn't put anything on it.
Hold
Oh,
on.
God.
Westfall.
Hold on. Don't be throwing those
Okay, it
words
is
around,
7
Fish.
a.m. where he's at.
I don't
oh, well.
give a shit.
Who's
He's
I know
gonna
you
wake
don't.
up.
I know you don't.
Who's eating what raw? Who's eating?
I didn't realize that Westfall didn't put anything on his hot dog.
Are you serious?
I think that's true, yeah. Because I told her, I said,
How do any of you eat hot dogs without anything on it?
I mean, I do it sometimes when I'm
All
in
right,
a rush.
let me leave him. Let me leave him a voice.
Oh, God.
He's probably asleep. Give me one
Yeah,
second.
it's 7:08. He probably put 36 holes yesterday.
I probably wouldn't share that publicly. Like, hey, I eat raw dogs. Like,
One second.
that's-
He brought it up.
Westfall, I need to confirm that a rumor is
That's
true
suspect.
or false. What the hell's going on here, buddy? Fish is telling me that you like to eat hot dogs raw. You sick fuck. Call me back. All right, cool.
Oh, I don't know.
All right, we'll get to that after the show. Anyways, back to the show. You guys are sick.
Yeah,
I think you're little.
Yeah, I'm actually
Yeah.
sick, but I'm not sick in that kind of way. You sick asses. Unbelievable. Raw dog and hot dogs. What the hell's wrong with you people? Unbelievable.
I bet they don't even chew either. Those
All right,
sick sons.
Jeff, let's relax. God, Jeff,
Those
you always
sick
take
sons-
it somewhere we
those
don't want to go.
Those 6 sons of bitches.
God. All right.
Oh, gosh.
My goodness. All right, let's go to the people. We got John on the line. John, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
Doing, man?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good, man. You guys do a great job, man.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
You're cracking me up over here with the raw dog thing.
God damn it, don't acknowledge it.
Right. No, I was just going to say, you guys, some people didn't kind of remember that, when the Lions were between 1-4, 1-5, 1-6, they still had the number, still were between the top 4 offense in the league, and it was just the defense that kept, I think we averaged 30-something points, but we gave up probably like 32 points. Something crazy like that. But that's why we fired, what's his name?
Aubrey Pleasant. Yep.
And then we had to get rid of our tight end because of just contractual obligations, or it's just the way of the NFL. And some people just forget that. I mean, it was something special even since they were 1-6. Man, I know a lot of people didn't see that, but I just wanted to acknowledge or let people know that they weren't really as bad as people say as a 1-6 team, because that question came about a lot.
Yeah, Jeff and I talked about this a lot. Is the question was at the time, are they a 1-6 team? And it was about 50-50. 50% said yes, 50% said no. I would lean that no, they weren't 1-6 bad. The offense was elite, the defense was historically bad, but the biggest problem to me was, how do I say this, John? It was always something. If it was the offense that gave you 45, you wouldn't give up a punt. If it was your offense and your defense played well, you'd have a blunder on special teams. If your defense played well, the offense didn't show up. If the offense showed up, the defense didn't. And then there was a 4th down play call that gave you 7 the other way. I don't know. There was always something. But they learned, man, and they learned on the fly. They stopped losing those games. And to your point, man, it looked really good down the stretch. The offense was there. I can't give them enough credit.
Yes, sir, man. And just the 2 games that we lost towards the end, man. I mean, I believe nobody ain't talking about that Carolina field. I think they should be talking a little bit more about, and not to bring the Ohio State, excuse about the field and the weather and all that stuff, but they should look into that too, because ain't no way in hell we want to give up 300 yards at the half, man, of rushing.
That was a bad week. They were due for a clunker. You can't go 9-10 weeks and be the best team in football. I mean, you're due for one. It's unfortunate. It kept them out of the playoffs, but to be honest, the 1-6 start is what kept them out.
True that.
Appreciate it, man. You have a great rest of
your
day.
Guys.
Thanks for calling,
man. You guys too. God bless.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
I'm glad we can at least go full circle with it, to be honest with you, Jeff, because that's important to me. Having that conversation, like, were they 1-6 bad? No, they weren't. We all knew this. That's why it was frustrating. That's why you lose your shit. That's why you don't sleep at night, because they're not 1-6 bad. That was a year ago. That wasn't this past season. It wasn't supposed to be that way. But regardless, what happened. We move on. Let's take a break. When we get back, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, rumored for head coaching positions. Concern level, where would they go? Who would they be replaced with? We'll have a conversation with all of you coming up in just a minute. But before we do, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Planet Fitness. Sign up today, $10 a month. Your fitness is essential. What are you waiting for? Get to a local Planet Fitness near you, or sign up today by visiting them at planetfitness.com.
At work
Fish,
and at
quick.
home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
We here at Woodward Sports would like to thank everybody who helped us stuff our studio. The third annual Stuff a Studio was a major success thanks in part to our partners at Guardian Alarm and Myers Stores for making it all possible. And of course, we couldn't do it without our community leaders and viewers like you. Thank you for dropping off toys to our studio that were taken to the Mott Children's Hospital in Ann Arbor so every sick child could have a happy holiday.
We are incredibly grateful for Woodward Sports, Guardian Alarm, and Meyer for making the holidays so special for our patients and families.
So what we do is try to bring some normalcy to their lives at this time. This is a labor of love. It brings so much joy, and not just for the families and for the children, but for our staff.
Thank you.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com as always. Fish, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for being nice to me.
You got it.
I like it.
Jeff, Ben Johnson, and Aaron Glenn. Look, the interviews are coming, and they're going to come fast.
Yeah.
Your concern level. Go for it.
11. I'm super concerned. And it's not has nothing. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the effect that Ben Johnson would have leaving. But my concern is we know how great Ben Johnson is, not just as a human being, but as an OC, as a leader of men, a great communicator. Players have nothing but good things to say about him. And he's very well spoken. He's super intelligent. Coaches have tried to pluck him away for multiple seasons. Zach Taylor tried to get him notably last year. My biggest concern is him getting in an interview. Like, that's it. Because I know how great he can be, and I know how good of an interview he will give. So just to get Ben Johnson in the room with the Colts, the Broncos, the Panthers, whoever it is, Arizona, he's going to nail that interview. It's not, my concern isn't, it's really mainly Ben Johnson's decision. Does he feel like he's ready to be a head coach? Because I know a team will offer Ben Johnson. That's just how it's going to happen. You look at a guy who's young, has a lot of upside, especially if you have a quarterback, a franchise quarterback that needs fixing, needs tweaking, and you saw what Ben Johnson just did for Jared Goff. Yes, with a great offensive line and a lot of good personnel. At the same time, I can see Ben Johnson getting an offer. The question is, will he take it? And I don't think he will this offseason. That was kind of always the point we made. I was concerned there was a chance he can take it because, again, like I said, he will nail any interview he gets into. I just think he'll impress any owner, any GM he sits in front of. But it's going to be Ben Johnson's decision. Does he want to return for one more season, be groomed for longer as he attempts to be a head coach, or does he want one right now? Because a lot of guaranteed money. A lot of money that's going to be able to be made for Ben Johnson. I mean, go ask Nathaniel Hackett. He had a terrible season. He's still in for $30, $40 million. So, I don't know. It's tough. If Ben Johnson wants the opportunity, I'm not going to blame him. But any interview he gets into, Adam, I know he's going to crush it. Same with Aaron Glenn. It's just a matter of, do those guys want to take the opportunity? I think Ben Johnson's the more hot commodity because franchises that are open right now have quarterbacks that need fixing. Arizona and Denver, notably two right there. So we'll see what happens. But yes, I am concerned because he's talented.
Well, let's look at the jobs. Carolina, Indianapolis, Houston, Arizona, Denver. Those are the 5 jobs right now.
Yes.
DeMeco Ryans, if I'm Houston, I look at my GM, I look him in the face, if I'm the owner, and I say, hey, buddy, you're not a fit here. Here's whatever your buyout is. Get the hell out of my building, you dumb fuck. All right, that's how I'd fire him.
Okay, interesting.
I bring in DeMeco Ryans for an interview, and I say, DeMeco, I want to hire you as the head coach. I want to give you a 6-year deal, and I want you to rebuild our franchise and restore it to what we had before with Bill O'Brien. Now, I don't have a GM in place yet, but I want you to assist in finding one that you can work alongside with. And you help us bring in the right people in the building. Because Houston has a culture problem, and they have a talent problem, and they have a quarterback problem, and they have a million problems. That's the call I'm making if I'm Houston.
Yep.
That's my priority.
I would agree.
Denver. Denver's in a tricky situation. You're looking to win now, but with who? Who can get more out of Russell Wilson? Who can have my defense still look really good, but really take my offense to the next level? Well, you're going to look at a Shane Steichen or a Ben Johnson, or you look for a Sean Payton, a more experienced coach who has won before. Okay, that makes sense. Cool, no problem. Carolina, no quarterback. Top draft pick, but no quarterback. No offensive weapons outside of DJ Moore. The defense, yes, is nice. A lot of work to do, though.
Yeah.
No running back. You want to go with, what's the kid's name? God, not Chuba Hubbard, the other
Devonta Foreman.
Devonta. You want to go with those guys for the next 2-3 years? Be my guest. It's a team that needs a lot of work. I'm not sold on it. I look at Arizona. Kyler Murray's going to miss, 2, 3, 4 games next year before he recovers. His attitude problem. DeAndre Hopkins is aging. That's not going to age well. I don't see it in Arizona. That looks like hey, we might need to take a step back for a year or two and then try to go and win.
Right.
And it's tough to do that when you've already paid Kyler Murray big-time money and he can't even carry you.
Right.
So that's a whole different problem. And then I look at the final job. Right, we've gone through Denver. We've gone through all these teams. It's Indianapolis. Indianapolis, interested in Jim Caldwell. Whether they want to pursue Ben Johnson is beyond me. But I look at that job and I say, cap hell, draft picks are gone.
No quarterback.
Which
is big, I think.
What am I doing here? And Jeff Saturday had the balls to come out and say, this team will look different if I'm announced as the head coach. Bro, shut the fuck up. You lost to the Houston Texans at home, final game of the year. You shut the hell up. You go back to TV and just talk. You're not a head coach. You're lucky nobody is scathing you this morning. Embarrassing. You won your first game and you looked like shit the rest. It was disgusting. All right? You did your job as an interim. Move on. You have no business being a head coach. Moving on. That is it. And am I concerned for Ben and Aaron? Maybe, but if I gave you my top priority list of coaches I'm going to hire this offseason, Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, DeMeco Ryans, Ben Johnson, Shane Steichen. Those are the 5. Aaron Glenn's not even on my list. New Orleans made the most sense. They went with Dennis Allen or Dennis Allen, I believe.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm not really concerned. I don't think Ben's going anywhere. Again, why would I pass on coaching a top 5, top 6 offense next year to go to a rebuild where in 4 of the 5 situations, I don't even have a quarterback?
Yeah. And the guys that are going to be available this offseason, you have Jimmy G, Derek Carr, maybe Aaron Rodgers would be an option. But even then, I think Ben Johnson, the thing he would be looking at is stability, obviously, within the organization. And then the second thing would be a quarterback. Because you say which one about Jared Goff. You saw what Ben Johnson was able to do with Goff. You're seeing Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, and that's why the Chargers' job, if Brandon Staley were let go, made so much sense because you're walking into a situation with Justin Herbert in L.A., a team ready to win now, and good ownership and a good general manager. So maybe you consider the Colts, but they got to figure out what they're going to do at the quarterback position. Because if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm not going there to coach. Maybe they get a Will Levis. Maybe they draft a quarterback. You never know. And they want Ben Johnson to groom, whoever it is. But it's good to be Ben Johnson right now because you have all the leverage.
You're going to be a hot commodity.
You have all the leverage.
You're
Absolutely.
going to be a hot commodity. But again, I am struggling to understand what most of you aren't understanding. What is the problem here? I just walked you through all 5 jobs and the appeal they have. If you're Houston, you have a culture problem.
Yeah.
You have a toxic football culture. Ben Johnson is not going to fix that.
I agree. It would be DeMeco.
You need a new GM. You need to bring in DeMeco Ryans. That would be my recommendation. You bring him in. DeMeco, let's go find ourselves a GM, someone you can work with. Let's restructure the entire front office because it's a fucking joke. So no, Ben Johnson to Houston does not make any sense to me. Ben Johnson to Denver. You could sell me on that. Yeah. Establish defense, get more out of the offense, fine.
Quarterback needs fixing.
I can understand it.
Yeah.
Shane Steichen, Sean Payton, even Jim Harbaugh's been thrown in there for Denver. No problem. Carolina, total rebuild, no quarterback. Who's going to be available when they pick? Who knows? 2 quarterbacks come off the board before they pick. You don't know. You really don't. So we'll have to see what happens there. You go to Indianapolis. I think Indianapolis is probably the most unappealing job at the moment because of the aging offensive line. Jonathan Taylor, now you're concerned about his future with his injuries that he's had the past 2 seasons.
Right.
You look at Matt Ryan, that's not going to work out. Michael Pittman, nice and all. What other weapons do you have? And then you go to the defensive side of the ball. Shaq Leonard coming off an injury next year. It's just so many question marks. And in an AFC South where I got to deal with now Trevor Lawrence for the next decade. And it looks like Doug Peterson's building something there. I'm not so quick to jump on that job. And then Arizona, again, yes, Kyler Murray. But what else? The GM just stepped away. And to me, that an Arizona job is what a Sean Payton or a Jim Harbaugh would be interested in, because maybe they could get leverage and be the GM or have pull. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the fit. Outside of maybe you could convince me on Denver.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I don't see Ben Johnson as much as you look at Houston. Yeah, they're probably going to get their quarterback. We'll see what the Bears do, because I do think there's a chance that, they take Bryce Young. But let's say they don't. Houston takes Bryce Young. You go to Houston, you coach a young quarterback. But like you said, Houston needs a lot more than just coaching for their quarterback. They need a culture a shift, if you will. And D'Amico, to me, makes the most sense. He played in Houston for the Texans, so there's that relation. For me, if I'm Ben, you're looking at jobs that they just need fixing. They need their quarterback fixed, and they have a team built ready to win now. That would make the most sense to me, but who am I to say what Ben Johnson wants? I think the thing that makes the most sense is you give him a significant pay raise. He's here for another year, gets another year as an OC under his belt, and then maybe more job opportunities open. But Carolina, to me, is a sleeper because he grew up in Carolina, went to North Carolina University. He's from the area. He worked for the Panthers, I think, for a short period of time. There's a lot of relations there. So Ben Johnson, to me, for Carolina, just because he's from there simply, I think they have a shot. But other than that, I just don't see an attractive job enough, I think, that would pull Ben away this offseason. But you never know. I think he's going to impress in any interview he has. So owners, GMs, they're going to love him. It's up to him at the end of the day.
Well, look, David Tepper, general manager Scott Fitter, they said it won't be a large group that they're looking at. And guys, I'm just going to say it now. I hope I'm wrong, but when I see Indianapolis interviewing Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, that makes no sense to me. One is responsible for a top 5 offense in the NFL. The other is responsible for a very inconsistent defense that was awful at the beginning, good down the stretch, very good at times, also very bad at times. So I hate to say it, but this to me is like a Rooney Rule request. It's like, hey, we're going to interview Aaron Glenn, and I don't think he's a serious candidate for the Indianapolis job.
And also, Easy saying in the chat, neglecting Ben's culture is wild. Do you not hear the players talking about him? This has nothing to do with what players think of him. I think you're asking a guy who was a first-year OC. For us saying that Houston would be a tough task for a guy who's been an OC for 1 year to walk into Houston and change the culture, change the mindset of the entire organization, because they've been in the depths of hell. I mean, we're talking about him doing good for the offense this year, which is true. He's a great OC. But I just don't think that's fair to Ben. His first head coaching opportunity after 1 year as an OC, you're going to walk into Houston. Like that, no, it doesn't. For as bad of a reputation as Houston has as an organization.
Is just as responsible, and I'll tell you why. Not only has he changed, quote, the culture, right? He's fixed that problem. That's done. That's not an issue in Detroit anymore. You need to understand that Ben Johnson is enabled by Dan Campbell. All those aggressive play callings, the style, the flair, the unpredictability, that's all great. But that is enabled by his head coach that allows him to do those things. Being a head coach is a totally different thing. And again, it's my personal preference. You want to hire Ben Johnson in Houston, be my guest. But if I'm the Houston owner, I'm getting rid of that fucking scumbag GM. I'm bringing in a guy that I believe who not only knows my building, but a guy that's a true professional, successful as a player, successful as a coordinator. I get an adult in the room. He's a veteran on both sides of the ball. He'll understand my players. He understands the league. He understands coaching. We'll go together and find our GM, and we'll go from there. That, to me, is what Houston should do. I'm not saying they shouldn't hire Ben, but to me, if I'm Ben Johnson, they lost the number 1 overall pick. There's no guarantee that they're going to get Bryce Young now.
Right.
So what am I doing here?
Yeah, I don't. That's a tough
that's an
task.
interesting job.
Yeah, and even last year with Mike McDaniel going to Miami, like they had a franchise quarterback. They got Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle. They had a good defense. There's a lot of intrigue. Like, Miami was intriguing.
You know what? Like Miami, you know what? I will say this about Miami. Miami was a toxic culture, though. Owner suspended. They had a lot of off-the-field problems.
But I think that was
a lot of controversy. I understand, but it was still toxic. And Mike McDaniel has to take a job where an African-American head coach is fired
back-to-back years after 1 year.
And he sues the NFL.
Right.
And it's like, oh, whoa. Like, this is not an easy situation to walk into. Now, did they trade for Tyreek Hill and that made things a lot easier? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do we like Mike McDaniel a lot? Absolutely. He's so awesome. He's such a fun guy. Do I think Ben Johnson can be a fun, encouraging, good head coach? Sure, maybe. We don't know. But to give him a job, to give him the Houston job, I think would be the wrong move. I do. If I'm Houston, DeMeco Ryans, it makes sense. Get rid of this GM from New England. He has no idea what the hell he's doing. He drafted Stingley at 3, ended up drafting a better player at the end of the first round and Jalen Petrie.
It's not a roster. If I'm Ben Johnson, I'm going to look at it and be like, ooh,
I like what they appealing about Houston.
Brandon Cooks is on his way out.
An aging wide receiver.
And he's out. He's going to ask for a trade. So
no wide receivers, no tight end, no offensive line, Dameon Pierce.
And that was
no quarterback.
That was my point about Miami. As much as they had toxic culture, still had an intriguing roster. Right. Like, that's all you had to do. Just need an offensive mind. Houston needs a lot more than just an offensive mind.
All right. Well, that's what we'll do.
It's tough. We'll see what Ben does, though. I think he's a legitimate threat to leave. I do. He's an incredible guy, and he's a great communicator. I think any owner or GM, I'll say it again, will be impressed with Ben. It's just, will Ben leave? It's up to him. So we'll see.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. We'll take phone calls, and then we'll get into Mailbag at 9:50. But before we do, Jeff, I got to tell everybody about our good friends over at Cousins Maine Lobster. Go sign up, scan the QR code, and find out where their food trucks are. The Maine Lobster Roll, lobster tacos, clam chowder soup, you name it. They've got it. All fresh, all delicious. CousInsMainLobster.com. Find out where the food trucks are and treat yourself to an awesome lunch.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been, I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
The official meat supplier of the Woodward Sports Network. Sandwiches to die for, Wagyu meats, artisan breads. Chef Dave has done a phenomenal job, and you can get your taste on by ordering today, thebutcherysl.com, or by giving them a call, 248-682-COWS. That is 248-682-COWS. All right. We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live at woodwardsports.com. Let's go to the people. You guys have been patiently waiting. Mike, you're on the morning show. Mike is calling from North Carolina. Mike, what do you got for us this morning, buddy?
Hey, good morning, guys. I was going to talk about what you've been saying about culture, and Ben Johnson is awesome. He is. Pay the man. Pay him big. Tell him to stay. I don't see him yet as being that guy that can control a locker room or really, develop a culture. But that being said, obviously very talented and up and coming. With Dan, I'd like to ask the question, too. Has he delivered on his promise from his press conference that he wanted to create a culture and a team that reflected Detroit? I think he has, and I think that we have to put our confidence in him regardless of what happens to say, hey, culture is paramount, right?
Yep.
Everything else will work out. But that's my opinion. I love Ben. Not too concerned about Aaron Glenn, but just pay the man. Pay him a lot.
Just pay him. It doesn't count against the cap. It doesn't count against the cap. Just pay the guy. Give him another year. And look, to his credit and really his benefit, you mentioned Dan Campbell and he's delivered on his promise. For the most part, he has. And, there's a bright future ahead of us now. And Ben Johnson gets a front seat to all of it. He gets to see how he commands the locker room. He gets to see how he changed a very toxic culture, because people forget Ben Johnson was here when Matt Patricia was in the building. He knows what a toxic culture looks like and what it doesn't look like. So he's got a front row to see how it fails and how it succeeds. So I'll say to your credit, Mike, that is a great point.
Well, where's the top offensive coordinator in the NFL make? Does anybody know?
I remember McDaniels.
I would say probably $2-3 million.
McDaniels, when he was at the helm with Bill Belichick,
5,
it was like $4 million. It was a lot.
Ooh, no, I think it was 5 or 6, but
you can double check, but it's in the couple millions. That's what a top tier OC was making. So you're probably around there.
All right, I'll find out for you right now.
Yeah, definitely.
I will tell you guys exactly what it is right now. So offensive coordinators in the NFL, the highest paid one at the moment, if it wants to fucking tell me, was Josh McDaniels, $4 million.
Okay.
You're correct. So $2-3 million for the really good ones.
Sounds about right.
Pay him 4.5 and say we're investing.
Oh my God!
Right?
I'm game for it, Mike. I'm game for it. I think he's that good.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, Mike. Have a good one, buddy. I'm game. Look, and maybe not 4.5, but to his point is very simple. Pay the guy.
Yeah.
Give him a contract that's very enticing. It's a 2-year extension. Give him $2.5 million, $3 million maybe at most.
Mm-hmm.
Say, Ben, we love you. We want you part of the culture. We're building something special. We think we can win a division. We think we can win playoff games. And if we're doing all that, Ben, we know you're going to take care of the offense. You're going to get head coaching offers every single cycle. That is a non-factor.
Yeah.
So maybe that's your pitch to him. But again, if a team comes calling and I say, hey, Ben Johnson, 5 years, $65 million,
Guaranteed.
come be the head coach, I think he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
If he wants to, I agree.
All right, let's go to Ryan out in Pontiac. Ryan, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
Not much, man. I just wanted to kind of touch on the stuff we've been talking about, like with Ben Johnson and stuff. And, I get it, man. Like, it's been a while, since we had, like, a decent team around here. It's been since last decent team we had was, the 9-7 is unacceptable by Martha Ford, So I get it. It's been a while, so I get people panic, about Ben Johnson possibly leaving. But, my main thing is, man, as long as the culture stays here, which they seem like they changing with Dan Campbell and everything. And one thing, I do like about Dan Campbell is before the season started, he was saying that they was going to, put in a system and put in the plays that fit best around Jared Goff. And to me, that's the best thing you can have as a coach. It's like if you got players, put in stuff that fit them, whether that be the quarterback or whatever. Like if I got a tight end that's good at like going deep down the seams, I'm not going to ask him to be mainly blocking because that's what my system called for. So, my main thing is, if you look at teams like Kansas City, like since Andy Reid been there, they've always had a good defense. Maybe not always top 5 or whatever, but they always had a good defense, even if you go back to Alex Smith. But they had, Doug Peterson. Yep. Then they went to Matt Nagy. Then they went to Brad Childress and now Bieniemy. So, I mean, they always put in something to fit their players. If you look at their offense, it looked a lot different with Alex Smith. They was running more with Jamal Charles and everything. And when they got a quarterback that could do a little bit more, they put in something that fit him. So, I don't want to see Ben Johnson leave, of course not. But at the same time, as long as, we keep the culture and it's like, just put in whatever we fit. Like if Jared Goff, if he leaves and we get a different quarterback, so we get a running quarterback like a Lamar Jackson type quarterback, I want them to put in an offense that's going to run the quarterback more. So
I think you're onto something. I do, Ryan. I think it's simple. Your job as a coach is to get the best out of what you have and not be so stubborn about this is my system, you figure it out. No. What do you do well? And I think Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson have done a hell of a job with that, Ryan.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, take care.
Yep, take care.
Yeah, and that's why I think
call.
Ben gets so much praise, because when he first got here with Jared Goff, or when he not first got here, but when he was first made OC, first thing he did with Jared Goff is, what do you like? What are you comfortable with? We're going to implement that in the scheme and make sure you get things you're familiar with, you're comfortable with, and that's what makes good coaches. That separates between okay coaches and great coaches, knowing your players and how to utilize them.
I'll tell you what. One of the things I think I'm most impressed by, that you should not take for granted with a coordinator, is his ability, and not just his ability, but his ability to have an offense and all these players believe in him.
Right.
And we heard it from Hard Knocks. It was, man, I love this guy. Boy, I love this guy. Phenomenal. Ben Johnson. It was the talk of town. But we'll take a break. When we get back, we'll continue the phone calls. I want to wrap up with 2 conversations that we need to have going into this offseason. We'll get to that in just a minute, but before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
Let me tell you about them. The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
If you think you're better than Jared Goff, I suggest you go to Fulham Warehouse in Hamtramck, because you can test out your skills. They're the home of the original football bowling game. They have 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you can pay $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. They have the $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. Check it all out. FulhamWarehouse.com.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. As always, Jeff Iafrate, Adham, Beydoun. Here's what we're going to do. Talked a lot about Ben Johnson. Aaron Glenn, not so much. I don't think anybody's hiring a guy that coached the 29th ranked defense in the NFL, but
yeah, they need more talent.
Take it for what you will.
Yeah.
We are going into an offseason, probably the most important offseason in Detroit Lions history. Not because you're on the cusp of a Super Bowl, not because you're on the cusp of an NFC title game. It is because you actually have the pieces to make a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year run. You have the GM. You have a head coach right now who has earned his keep. There's not much you can say about Dan. Now, has he won anything? Has he won a division playoff game? I don't think that's the conversation we should be having this morning. I saw a coach hit rock bottom at 1-6 and convince his team and coach his team up and prove that they were good enough to win 8 of 10. I can't believe it. That means something. And you're going into an offseason where if you can address the secondary, you can get a better linebacker, you can get stronger in the interior, you add depth around certain positions, you address the guard position, you get more legs, maybe fresh legs at the running back position. You have one of the more complete rosters in the NFC going into next season. Along with year 2 Aiden Hutchinson, year 2 James Houston, year 2 Josh Pascal, year 2 Kirby Joseph, year 3 Penei Sewell, year 3 Amon-Ra St. Brown, year 2 Jameson Williams. Like it's really starting to come together. And it's young, and now you just need to add some veterans and also some young players through the draft. This offseason is so important because it'll set you up to get rid of the one word I think you all hate, and that's SOL. Same old lines. You hate the tag? This is how you get rid of it. A 5, 7, 10-year stretch where you are consistently a very good football team. Not just a good football team, but a very well-ran franchise. And I would put the Lions up there right now over the last 2 years since Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, Sheila Hamp, Chris Spielman, this team, for 2 years now, they've looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
They look like they're all on the same page. And that's all you can ever ask for from a front office. You know what happens when you're not on the same page, Jeff, from ownership to the front office to the coaching? Well, that's how you get situations like Matt Rule, and then Cliff Kingsbury, and then Keim the GM. And then you look at Houston, where you have back-to-back seasons with a one-year rental coach, which is an embarrassment to the NFL. And then a GM who just gets away with it and nobody says anything about it. This is what happens. And if you want to look at your own history, this is what happens when you hire a Bob Quinn, Matt Patricia. This is how you go from Jim Schwartz to Jim Caldwell, but you never follow up what the foundation was because you fucked up the 2012 draft.
There you go.
And you ruined everything ahead of you. 2012 was the draft to take yourselves to the next level, and you fucked it up.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Lions' chance this offseason.
Yeah, you nailed it. That's where I was going to go with it, too, because we've seen in the past the Lions sniff a little success. The problem was following it up with a good offseason and a good draft, and it didn't happen with Jim Schwartz. It didn't happen with Jim Caldwell. Now you have Brad Holmes, and you know the talent's going to be there, and I think that's the biggest difference with this current regime is in an offseason that's so important. You have assets, which is something the Lions never really had a lot of in the past. You have 2 first-round picks. You have 2 second-round picks. You have Brad Holmes making these selections, which he's proven that we should have confidence in him no matter where he's picking in the draft. I mean, damn, you found 2 starters in the 6th round, for crying out loud. So moving forward, I think Brad's going to be the biggest difference. I love Dan Campbell, but it's hard if you're not getting talent consistently, which is something that, again, with Schwartz or with Caldwell, they failed to do. So moving forward, this offseason is super important. It's going to start with a couple key decisions, like one, do you bring back Jamal Williams or not? I think that's going to be a key one. For me, I would say yes, because of what he offers, and I don't think he's going to command a lot of money. I see the chat agreeing with me. Not out of 113 votes, 96%. You guys voted yes. So that's going to be a move that Brad's going to have to just decide. And moving forward, what are you doing for agency and the draft? What players, what positions of need are you going to address? And to me, it's the secondary, clearly. But still, to your point, Adam, looking at this roster, how young it is, and the talent they have, I mean, the upside with Houston, Hutchinson, you're the 2 leading sack leaders in the NFL. You have Kirby Joseph, a safety who has a bright future. So there's a lot of young talent. Now, like Dan Campbell said in the press conference after the game, no matter what their expectations are for next season, it's up to these players to get better. Because if these players aren't consistently developing, what are we doing? So part of it is the players improving. The second part of it is can Brad Holmes consistently add talent, which he's proven to do. So this is actually the most optimistic I've been covering the Detroit Lions or watching the Detroit Lions in an offseason, because you have confidence in your general manager to make the right decisions, which is huge, because you can have the 6th pick, you can have the 18th pick. Who's picking? And for you guys and for Lions fans, you have Brad Holmes, which is the best case scenario. So Brad Holmes, to me, is the biggest difference why you should have confidence in this regime heading into arguably the biggest offseason ever compared to last with Jim Caldwell or Jim Schwartz. Brad Holmes is the difference.
All right, fair enough. Well, look, let's take a break. When we get back, mailbag time. Get all of your questions in the chat. Jeff and I will answer them. But before we do, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. No appointment necessary. They're awesome stylists. Will take care of you like they take care of me. So what are you waiting for? Get to a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
me tell you about my good friends over at Matrix Home Solutions. Whether you're looking to renovate your basement, your bathroom, renovate your kitchen, there's no better business to go through and contract through. An A+ rating through the Better Business Bureau. Professional and organized contractors. They are the standard in the business. Matrix Home Solutions. Give them a call. 888-594-8844. We are back. Mailbag time here on the Morning Woodward Show. Jeff, let's answer some questions. All of you in the chat, start throwing them in.
So,
if Ben Johnson leaves, should we draft a quarterback? No.
I don't think that changes.
No.
I don't think your approach to building this team changes if Ben's here or not.
So here's the thing. Do we all acknowledge you want a better backup in the building?
Right. I would.
Cool. So if we can all acknowledge that, whether it's through the draft or free agency, can we at least acknowledge if Jared Goff goes down, your season's kind of over? And I could say that about every team in the NFL.
Except for the 49ers.
That's again, there's levels to this game that we're playing here, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Most teams aren't equipped to handle their quarterback going down.
Right.
The Niners were built everything around except their quarterback. It was Jimmy G. It was Trey Lance. It could be whoever.
Yeah.
Right? But the Lions aren't built that way. They actually do need Goff playing at this level. Right? Now, how much credit you want to give Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, it's up to you guys. But to me, I don't think that changes. You want to draft a quarterback, you want to go for a Duggan, you want to go for Stetson Bennett later in the rounds. I'm open to everything. We have all offseason to talk about it. But right now, I don't think that involves Ben Johnson. I don't. That's a That's a Brad Holmes decision. Moving on. What other questions do we have?
Mailbag. De'Aaron Payne, Roquan Smith at a minimum should be on the Lions' aggressive target next year. I like
unrealistic.
Yeah, I was going to say I like the names, but saying at a minimum is unrealistic. Those guys are going to want to get paid.
You can get one of them. You can't.
If you had to pick
both.
one, clearly it's Roquan, but I don't know. That's a tough one. Mailbag. How much does an anomaly like James Houston going to cost extending? He has just 1 year left.
See how he plays next year.
That's it.
And if you're Brad Holmes, you're looking at him and saying, "Look, you want to go into next year as a prove-it year? You be our guest. You're very young. We'd love to give you a 3-year deal with a team option for a 4. You can do a lot of things." Well, that's tricky. It's tricky, man.
Yep.
Because you don't want to shell out 3 years, $45 million for a potential edge rusher when he's not. He hasn't proven anything. He was hot at the end of the year. So what? Show me 16 games next year. Show me 17 games. Then we can talk.
Curtis asks, expectations for J-Mo next year. He should be 100%. Seemed like he needs more targets. For me, Jameson, next year, you just want him to be consistently involved. Now, I think the offense is still going to run mainly through a couple guys, one of them being Amon-Ra St. Brown. But the fact that if you can get J-Mo consistently involved, show the reason why you traded up and took him, that's all I'm expecting. So next year should be a big year for him. Next question, Jesse Adams asks, do you think we will see Karen Rodgers on Pat's show today? Second question, do you think
Probably.
do you think Pat actually talks about the bet he made with Stig?
Oh, 100%.
Hope so.
No, well, sources close to me say, that's a thing.
It's a thing.
That's
Okay.
happening.
Good,
That's happening.
good. Patty asks, Mailbag, what would shock you more, Ben Johnson leaving or Aaron Glenn?
Aaron Glenn. Who the hell would offer him a job?
Yeah, I would probably be more shocked with AG. Not that I don't think he's not deserving, but to your point, the defense, I mean, early in the year was
Let me ask
historically
you,
bad.
you're the GM of the Broncos. You calling Aaron Glenn for an interview?
Yeah, maybe for an interview.
You're being nice.
But I don't know. Yeah,
You're being nice.
I'm not taking a chance. I need to hit on my head coach.
If I'm any of the 5 available positions, if I'm the GM of any of those teams, my short list is DeMeco Ryans. I entertain Jim Harbaugh. I reach out to Sean Payton if he's interested. Ben Johnson, Shane Steichen.
Yeah.
Those are my 5. It's that simple to me.
Midas says, nobody going to take Ben Johnson seriously as a coach. He's a little skinny dude. I definitely wouldn't. I mean,
so is Sean McVay and
so is
Kevin
Mike
O'Connell
McDaniel.
and Matt LaFleur and Mike McDaniel and Kyle
5'9".
Shanahan and all these other guys. So skinny white guys are starting to work out. Seems like the mid to fat coaches outside of Andy Reid aren't working.
Joe says, Mailbag, thoughts on the Lions' 2023 schedule? You see the road schedule?
It's brutal.
It's pretty brutal.
It's brutal.
So we'll see. I mean, we'll get into that at a later date.
Oh, goodness. How about Jeff Okudah going into his last season under contract?
$10 million.
You're releasing him after next year. He's done. He can walk for free.
Yeah,
and I can't wait.
Yeah, we'll see. I just.
But you know what? We should give him till next year because he's going to prove us all wrong.
Yeah.
And he'll be a top 5 corner in the NFL, I believe.
Mailbag Arstone asks, we know Brett Holmes doubles down in every position, every draft. Are we sure we want to draft rookie quarterbacks to start next year? Sauce doesn't show up every year.
That is correct. Sauce Gardeners do not show up every year. Kelly Ringo put Quentin Johnston in his back pocket. Kelly Ringo's an interesting option. Do I think he's a Sauce Gardner? No, it's a little early for me, but Kelly Ringo's a nice prospect. Joey Porter's a nice prospect, but I agree. It's not about doubling down in the secondary. You need to double down in free agency.
Yeah.
And the draft combined.
Yeah.
So one veteran corner needs to come and show up on this team and offer leadership, and then you can draft a Joey Porter, a Kelly Ringo, whoever the hell you want.
Yeah, you're spot on. You need you need a veteran presence in that secondary. What do we got here? Mailbag, would you be shocked if Donovan Edwards leads Michigan? Because I could see him saying he doesn't want to split carries for the 3rd straight year. You can't tell me USC or someone giving him $2 million a year.
Wow, Donovan Edwards at USC? Sign me. Oh
my gosh.
What do you do if you're Michigan?
I mean, if you're Donovan and you're going into a year where you're going to be eligible for the draft.
What do you do
and
if
you
you're
want
Michigan?
numbers?
Blake Corum commits. He comes back.
Oof.
What do? You go say, hey, you're going to be the 2 next year.
After what he just did the last couple games.
Saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just saying. You want Donovan Edwards to start. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's a tough decision, man. Oh, goodness me. Okuda is a bust. Steve, I would be very careful in saying that. Twitter and the Pride Army will attack you for that one. So just be very careful. You're not allowed to call Jeff Okuda a bust. That's inappropriate. It's unacceptable. He's not a bust. He'll prove you wrong. Shut the hell up, Steve. Moving on. If I'm a college running back, I don't want a full workload, too much wear and tear. Yeah, but Rad, that's a tricky one for running backs because they're undervalued in the draft. So the only way you become a top pick where you're considered a Bijan Robinson or somebody that can go in the early 2nd round is by getting a workload. So running backs lose either way. They really do. It's insane to me. Adam, please stop using we're not addressing that. Moving on. Oh man, I almost caught myself. Hank Farley for OC if Ben Johnson leaves. Ooh.
Hank Fraley as OC?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Hank Fraley a lot.
I want Dan Campbell calling plays if Ben Johnson's going to leave. That'd be my preference. Again, if he doesn't want that and he wants to hire an OC, he's more than welcome to, but that's what I'd like to see. Donovan Edwards is better than Blake Corum. Corum screwed the Wolverines by staying in school. Steve, that's a tough decision for the Wolverines, man.
And I don't know if I'd say he screwed them because you could say arguably if you had Corum, maybe that helps their chances a little bit. I wouldn't say he's screwing them by going back.
I don't know.
But I get what you're saying. Maybe he screws Donovan Edwards for the season we all expected him to have. That Heisman conversation maybe isn't as true as we thought.
Oh God!
I'm not trying.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just reading these.
I like the idea of keeping DJ Shark. I think you want to do that 100%.
I would too.
Now, is he willing to do another 1 year prove it? I don't know. But you know what? He was hurt this year. And if he's going to want a 3-4 year deal, the only way he's going to get it is by playing a full season. And if that's a 1 year deal in Detroit and then go out in the market and get a 3 year, $32, $34, $36 million deal, which I know he wants, I think there's no better offense to do it in. The problem is he's probably the 3rd option.
I would
maybe second option.
Guess that he would take Josh Reynolds, or he would be the outside receiver. Maybe Jameson takes Josh Reynolds' spot. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities there, but I'm with you. What would you do with Vitae in his contract? Nate asks.
Get rid of him.
Probably cut him if you're able to, and then you got to fight because I think Evan Brown at a dirt cheap contract has played up to par with Vitae. So Vitae's making like $10 million annually. Jesse Adams mailbag, are the saying he's a dog or he's got that dog in him jumped the shark yet? What?
I have no idea.
Yeah, no,
Moving on.
That doesn't really make sense. Sorry, Jesse.
Oh, God. Re-signing Buggs, Chark, and Williams is a must. I would agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Those 3 players, those are kind of the unsung heroes this year. Really don't talk about those guys, but they're impactful.
Sorry if you mentioned this already. What does your ideal draft look like first 2 rounds? First 2 rounds, Rad. Okay, look. So ideally, I want an interior lineman. I don't know how realistic it is to get a Jalen Carter. I think it's unrealistic. He's probably going top 3, top 4. We'll see what happens with the quarterback. So you never know how the board falls. I'm looking at a Miles Murphy. I'm looking at a Kelly Ringo. I'm looking at a Joey Porter. I'm really looking defense in the first round. I don't see a scenario outside of quarterback where I take anything on the offensive side of the ball. Now, the second round, that's where things get interesting. Do you go for a running back, or do you take a back seat and say, you know what, we're going to go get a linebacker here, or we're going to go get another secondary player? I don't know. But for me, this draft has defense written all over it. Here's what we're going to do. Oh, by the way, how could I forget your boy, Brian Brees from Clemson?
That's another one.
That's another option at 6. So there you go. That's it for today's show. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you hopping on with us as always. I'm going to go take a nap because I am dead. Jeff, good luck growing your hair back. Michael, thank you so much. Fish, go to hell. Appreciate all of you. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Check out Big D Energy at 11 o'clock. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Go watch football today. How do you not?